Merry almost Christmas, guys. As you can see, my tree is up and it's lit. So I figured when with Christmas just 2 days away as I record this, I'm going to tell you what Christmas was like growing up. I have no idea what I'm going to title this video, so your guess is as good as mine on that. So, Christmas. One thing I should preface is growing up, especially as a kid, not so much as a teenager, but definitely as a child, I was in an upper middle class household. We never really had to worry about money, never had to worry about putting food on the table. So we even went on a few cruises in the Caribbean. So as you probably have guessed, Christmas was about the same thing. So, my sister and I got quite a bit of presents, cool presents too, but not limited to snowboards, awesome toys. You guys remember those Connects? Actually, no, we're going to get to that. Forget what I said there. But we got a lot of cool stuff. And as far as traditions would go, we had the obviously leaving cookies and milk out for Santa, that whole thing. And there was one Christmas I remember, I forget what year it was, but I had to be about 9, 10 years old. And my mom took my sister and I out to the front yard. And she's like, oh, yeah, let's leave some reindeer food for Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. Yes, I know all the reindeers' names by order. What? No, I'm just kidding. But we did that, and I don't even know what it was exactly that we laid out. Was it cinnamon or brown sugar, or some glitter? But either way, I was like, oh, cool, the reindeer are gonna eat it. I totally believe it. So we did that, and as far as going to relatives' houses, what we would do that on Christmas Eve. So I'm not sure when exactly I would do this, but it was for the most part we would go to my uncle Roger's house. This is my dad's brother. And it wasn't that far away. It was maybe like 15 minutes or so at the most, and we would see my grandparents there, his parents, and my cousins would be there too. And it would be a nice time. We'd watch maybe like Christmas specials on his TV. Usually it would be the Flintstones Christmas special because he was a big Flintstones fan. I kind of am myself. And open presents, have a nice dinner, and we go home and open the presents at our houses the next day, respective houses. And my mom's side of the family, they would come about a couple of days before Christmas Eve to our house that I remember. And anyway, as I was saying, my sister and I got awesome gifts. So as I mentioned previously, snowboards and Connects. They're like Legos. You guys know those? They took them off the market for a while, but I think they're back on. I actually just checked the other day. And they're like these little trinkets of plastic rods that you can fit together to make cool stuff. So I got a roller coaster one. And guys, 6-year-old me was over the moon about this thing because I've wanted it for probably half that year. This is 2001, mind you. So May, June, I think, maybe even July, I noticed, I looked in a catalog, be like, oh my God, look at this cool roller coaster, this cool toy roller coaster you can put together. This is amazing. And I was asking for it for the longest time. And on Christmas Eve, 2001, I got it. And oh, it was so dope. And then my birthday actually, not even a couple months after that, I got a Ferris wheel one, and oh man, it was so great. And there's home video footage of this too. I don't have it unfortunately. I think it's at my mom's house, but anyway, it was awesome, and it was in a catalog because mind you, this is 2001, so digitization wasn't as advanced as it is now. So we still had hard copies of what we wanted to shop for. Those were still very much around. Obviously, those are, I'm sure, obsolete by this point, but it was great. Christmas growing up, from about maybe infancy to, not that I remember infancy, who really does, to about 11, 12, were actually really, really good. We would obviously get up on Christmas morning around 8:30, somewhere like that, maybe even sooner, honestly. So it was awesome, and we do all this, we unwrap gifts and all that, like I said, and I got a lot of cool toys. I got like a tank one year that would like shoot out these stick missiles, and man, a lot of video games, a lot of movies, and VHSs even. So that's another thing. Now, it wasn't until my parents got divorced, I think, is when Christmas started to change, and not necessarily for the better. So 2006 would have been the last Christmas that I would spend with my dad's side of the family. So the whole Uncle Roger's house, and it was, and honestly, 2006 was probably like the Christmas where everything kind of changed, because my mom was about to meet someone who would become my stepdad, and he was okay, honestly, but he kind of became more, yeah, more like kind of narcissistic and all that kind of stuff. And that's when so Christmas 2007 this is, so I'm 13. As a matter of fact, in the unboxing video, there, those cars I got, those NASCAR things, I actually, a lot of those came from Christmas 2007, which I liked and I still do. But obviously, when you move so much as I did, you can only keep so many things, and that includes Christmas toys and Christmas gifts. So when my mom, she wasn't remarried yet, this would have been a couple months before she remarried. We would get up at a much later time. My stepdad would really, really sleep in. We're talking like 10 a.m., maybe even 10:30. Heck, there were Christmases where it would be almost noon where we would open presents, and it's like internal screaming. And also, every Christmas, honestly, I keep mentioning 2007, but it's true. Since then, my mom would keep telling me it's going to be a slim Christmas. It's going to be a slim Christmas, slim Christmas, slim Christmas, slim Christmas. And this is obviously because my dad was an architect and he made quite a bit of money. We weren't loaded, but again, upper middle class, 2000s, lived in a house that, according to Zillow, is worth about, I want to say 630K last I checked. So pretty expensive house. I forgot how much we bought it for, maybe 400, 300, something. I think 499 anyway. Christmas was, it was still awesome, but it wasn't as awesome. My sister and I didn't really get as much stuff. But I think we both quickly learned to accept that and accept the lower gross income of our household, because I think most kids, they would really throw a tantrum over that. I mean, I guess I kind of did, but it wasn't like a crazy one. It wasn't like to the point where I was super ungrateful. I'm sure there was some ungratefulness going on, but it wasn't insane. Now, but here's the real kicker. So with this stepdad came his step family, and that's where we would spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, even Easter, but obviously this video is about Christmas. So his step family, I'm not going to go into the relations here, but it was consistent of, kids, his brothers, the parents, older people. So it was quite a hodgepodge of all different generations, all different age groups. Unfortunately, I wouldn't preface this by saying unfortunately, but they were from coal country, so we're talking eastern Kentucky, and they were super duper pooper conservative. Not even conservative, I'd say maybe even in some cases far right. I haven't spoken to these people in quite a few years, but I would imagine they're on the Trump train even as of today. Let's just put it that way. And there would be a lot of arguments. We're talking straight up skirmishes, I think, or near skirmishes. One person would say something, and then all of a sudden, someone's like, "I'm gonna hit you in the face," like straight up. And this is something that was foreign to me, right? This isn't something that I have seen before up until this point. So again, I'm like 13, 14, 15 years old, and all this kind of stuff is happening. And you know what? I'm gonna come right out and say it. A lot of that family was white trash. That's kind of a racial slur, but not really. It's not like I'm saying the N word. I wouldn't say that, obviously. But this family was white trash and just dysfunctional and just not really with it. You know what I mean? So Christmas over there was not very pleasant. Let's again put it that way. Now, as far as gift preferences go, it wasn't until about high school when I started to really enjoy getting clothes, right? As a kid, we're like, oh, I don't want clothes, I want toys. And that was me, obviously, as a kid. But as I got older, I noticed, you know, I kind of prefer clothes now. Oh, almost like overnight, right? I think this happens with a lot of people too. Like, you actually prefer clothes over other things. And so, back to Christmas arrangements. One thing I think we really started to do, and this was more so in the late 2010s, so as I was in college now, we would spend Christmas more with our longtime friends who we consider them family. We've known them for over 20 years now and counting, and we would go up to their house and exchange gifts and stuff like that. So they would be an awesome alternative to crazy, crazy family stuff that we're not totally on board with. So we do that, and obviously with the pandemic, we still got together, but the thing was we were distanced, we had to have the windows open to create a cross breeze of ventilation to ensure that there was no viral transmission that was rampant, because obviously that happens in very indoor settings, which is why around this time you see a rise of RSV and flu, and obviously the Rona, which is still upon us even at this late date, circulating. And nobody got sick. It was, I think we did a good job in preventing that, because obviously one of the people we were with had, I think, some kind of a lung condition. So obviously you do not want that person getting COVID. Absolutely not. Do not want that happening. So this kind of continues to this day a little bit, where we would see them for certain holidays, whether it be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it'd be a good time, right? Now obviously I'm in my own place now, so Christmas nowadays is consistent of my sister and I mainly kind of collabing and exchanging gifts. And we go to her boyfriend's mom's house, and we spend Christmas there too. We were supposed to do it last year, but there was someone got COVID, so we couldn't do that. But that's generally what we do now. And obviously, with both my parents in other states, we kind of mail our Christmas presents back and forth to each other. My mom uses FedEx. I use the Postal Service. Probably not the most reliable, but I haven't had a problem with them, knock on wood, and won't, as far as gifts being delivered goes. But overall, it's been a success on that front. And so I would get the gifts, my sister would wrap them, and Christmas still continues to be a special time, but it becomes less special as you get older, because obviously you have a cash flow of your own, you have an income of your own, so you generally have the luxury of buying whatever you need at your convenience all year round. So, because with childhood, you can't do that. All you get is an allowance at best, whatever that allowance might be. Again, depends on your family's income threshold, or if you even get an allowance. That might not even be the case with everyone. In fact, that it isn't. It is not the case with everyone. Another thing that comes with living on your own is you kind of shift from clothes. The clothes are still kind of there, the clothes preferences that you really want. You shift towards things you need for your household. So one thing I asked for last year were new bath towels because the ones I had were just dingy and just I don't know what was the deal with them. They might have been just more cheap, I think. So I had to ask for like bath towels and another one thing I'm asking for this Christmas is a new comforter slash duvet. Is there really a difference between comforter and duvet? Fight me in the comment section saying, yes, there is a difference between a comforter and a duvet. But the reason I need a new one, of whatever term you want to use, is because I've had to tape it because the stitching has kind of come off and leaving exposed cotton. And correct me if I'm wrong, but these things have a lifespan of like 10 years, maybe even a little less than that. For me, it's more like 8. So I needed a new one of those. And another thing I'm asking for is a new one of those plug-in air purifiers because I hate sneezing. I know it's something we have to do, but I feel like I can limit my sneezes when I'm here if I have one of those to kind of filter the air, clean it, and all that kind of stuff. So those are the two main things I'm asking for. You guys don't have to say, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I got you, Jack. I'm gonna get you that." Don't worry about that. So we're gonna get him. Mark my words. Santa Claus is gonna come through. I also asked him for a ceasefire in Gaza, so hopefully I get that too. And because I did ask him, actually, he was making a cameo appearance at this one Christmas tree lighting event that I went to with my one friend about a month ago. So I kind of got what I asked for, but I need a more permanent version of that gift. Permanent ceasefire in Gaza, please. That's what we need. And if anyone has a problem with that, and you write in the comments section calling me an anti-Semite, first of all, you're objectively incorrect. You do not know what anti-Semitism means, and your comment will be deleted. So keep that in mind. I might even engage with you in the comment section and just explaining to you why you're wrong. But if you do that, if you comment saying I'm an anti-Semite, and anyway, this video is not about that. This video is about Christmas and simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Also, I hate that Mariah Carey song. Like, I would rather shove ice picks in my ear than hear "All I Want for Christmas Is You." Apparently, Santa Shoes is another one that people don't really like. Man, what else can I say about this video? Oh, my flags? That was another Christmas gift that I actually liked receiving. In fact, there was a store at Gurney Mills Mall. If you live in the northern suburbs of Chicago or even Chicago itself, you know what Gurney Mills is. I believe it's still there. It's by Six Flags Great America, not far from there. They used to have a store called the American Flag Shop, and you can get those flags that I keep showing you in my videos. I got a gift certificate to that flag shop, and I'm like, oh, praise Allah. I can finally continue and complete my U.S. state flag collection and obviously continue it. In fact, I think Minnesota is going to get a new state flag, so that's going to be pretty sweet. So we're going to see how that turns out. But I think if I covered just about everything, again, Christmases were largely great, but they got a little bit iffy when my mom remarried and stuff like that. But I never had a super bad experience at Christmas time, which unfortunately cannot be said for everyone, right? I think people probably don't have the best memories of Christmas. They have traumatic experiences with whatever it might be. So, um, I guess I definitely feel for anyone with those negative experiences with whatever happened at Christmas time that you might not like to remember. But you'll get through it. I know you will. Anyway, this is a little Christmas video I just put together. This wasn't scripted, obviously, because a lot of stopping points, a lot of pauses I had to make. So I'm going to leave you with my tree. If I can zoom down here, you can see the presents a little bit under there. So I know, hopefully no one says, hey, I got more than you. Okay, I think we're past that. All right, so let's not focus on the material aspect of it, although I kind of did in this video, but let's move past that a little bit and forget the bad times and just focus on the good times. So with that being said, obviously Hanukkah just passed. I can't exactly say happy Hanukkah. That is passed a couple of nights ago. So Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day, Kwanzaa, New Year's, have a great all of those things. And I will see you in the new year. Peace. See you in 2024.